Welcome to another episode of Bolting In. Adam McGrath and Shane Anderson with you. Shane, we've lost our magical leader. He's doing a long drive at the moment, but the show will go on and looking forward to hopefully finding some winners in what will be our last episode till the spring.
Yeah, good to be back with you, Adam. A shame Maddie can't join us today for our last episode, as you touch on, but certainly been a great few months of coverage all the way through the Melbourne, Sydney autumn carnivals, and now, of course, with the big finale up in Brisbane. But haven't we had plenty of fascinating racing over the past few months?
Yeah, we obviously didn't speak last week, but we had the Stradbroke the week before that. What did you make of that performance? Obviously, Steffi Magnetica, the winner with the lightweight, given a gun right on the inside. And I thought Bella Nipotina, who was the one that I sort of threw out just for the honesty, like again, she just showed how honest and brave she is up to the 1400, continued to fight and gave the winner on that day, I think it was 6 kilos in the end.
Yeah, the winner was very good, but I think the run of the race was Bella Nipotina, and it's good that we're seeing her one final time for the carnival in the Group 1 this weekend. But I mean, you've been a fan of Bella Nipotina all the way through her career, basically. I thought she was terrific. What a wonderfully consistent horse she has been. I think she's now placed 31 times out of 51 starts, give or take. Just remarkable consistency. But she was just found out in the handicap. Back to this weekend, and we'll talk in more detail around that. With Weight for Age, it's going to suit her. But again, she's also been up for a very long time. So can Kira Ma get another peak performance out of her? Looking forward to getting your thoughts. But yeah, it was a great performance from her. But I think the big talking point from an Australian perspective, Adam, was great to see Henry Dwyer, a great mate of mine, win the Asphura with the Asphura at the King Charles III Stakes at Royal Ascot last week. Amazing record now with Australian sprinters at Royal Ascot. I think we've won the King's Stand 6 times in 21 years. It's a remarkable achievement. Asphura went over there with a few knockers, but she delivered in spades.
We mentioned the 6 of 21 as well, and for the amount of travel to acclimatise to race against her, it is a ridiculous record, really.
Yeah, I think, look, without a doubt, I think Australia is clearly number one seed in the world when it comes to sprint horses. Our record at Royal Ascot, phenomenal. We've got great success, with Australian breds constantly going to Asia, particularly Hong Kong, and dominating over there. And in our own backyard, we're virtually impossible to beat. So, we may not necessarily produce the best horses at a mile and beyond, although we've had some great champions in recent times. But in the sprint division, I think there's no better nursery of developing fast horses than Australia. Well done to Henry. Big, bold attempt, to take a horse, as you said, to the other side of the world. She probably was in the peak of her form, seemingly, with what she was displaying in Australia, but she went and beat the best in Europe and did it quite handsomely. So we're going to see her a few more times. I think Henry's keen to run her at Glorious Goodwood towards the end of July, early August. Likely to go to York for the big meeting up there, the Nunthorpe Stakes Group 1 level in mid-August, and then potentially even tilts in Paris for the Prix d'Abbé on Arc Day, or even further afield. She might even go to America for maybe the Breeders' Cup. But lots to look forward to, but well done to Henry and the team.
Yeah, an exciting journey, and he certainly handled himself very well on social media as well, getting plenty of publicity around the world. A horse that also showed it was pretty fast was in the JJ Atkins. We've seen a lot of horses under $2 in this Queensland Carnival, and a few of them go down, but broadsiding one like a good horse should win, and probably even surprised me a little bit how dominant it was on the day.
Yeah, it was super impressive. He's just gone from strength to strength, and all the way through his 2-year-old season, every start we've seen something better from him when he stepped out the next time. So he's being talked up as a potential Cox Plate prospect going towards the spring. He gives the impression that he will improve as he gets out to, say, 2,000 metres. And, he's probably the similar horse to what we saw from Animo a couple of seasons ago, who ran so well in a Cox Plate as a 3-year-old and certainly came back as an older horse to win the race. So broadsiding, I think, is very exciting. And in many ways, he probably is the number one seed in the 2-year-old division. As I said, historically, we often say the Golden Slipper winner gets the title of being the champion of the 2-year-old division. But I think with what we've seen from broadsiding, with winning the Champagne Stakes in Sydney and then progressing through to the Winter Carnival up in Queensland, he's right up there. He was super impressive, and can't wait to see what he does at 3.
And of course, Faulkner Park was able to take out the Q22. You and I were both pretty keen on this horse, but again, I was really impressed with that turn of foot, that style of victory. Where can Faulkner Park feature and play a part when it comes to the Spring Carnival?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, neither.
Yeah, it's one of those horses where clearly got plenty of ability. Being sort of brutally honest, I think perhaps they were fairly soft races he was able to get away with up in Queensland. It'll be a lot weaker than what I'm anticipating he would face come the Spring Carnival, whether it be in Sydney or Melbourne. Good horse in very good form. And look, Annabelle Neasham has had an amazing record with these types of horses. So there still might be more to come from him. But just right now, I can't work out. I'm not convinced he's a legitimate weight for age star for the Spring Carnivals. Could he be a Caulfield Cup prospect in around that sort of 54, 55 kilo range? Maybe. But right now, I was impressed by his performance when winning the the Q22, I should say. But yeah, where do I position him overall? I'm still not sure.
It's going to be interesting to see where he does feature throughout that carnival, as we mentioned. Let's move on to this weekend where we do have the one Group 1, the Tatts Tiara. It is over the 1,400 metres, race 8 at Eagle Farm. Currently, Bella Nipotina is the favourite with Palmer Bet at $2.70. We've got Say Magic at $6.50, Roll on High $11, Opal Ridge and Puer Volante at 12, Samina 13, Coco Jambu at 15, and Roots at $17. Who do you like in this Group 1 event, Shane?
Yeah, Adam, we talked a little bit earlier about Bella Nipotina, and I think she's clearly the worthy favourite and deserved favourite. And $2.70 is probably the right price for her. A couple of things that just causing me a little bit of concern. She's drawn out wide. I think she comes into 15 if the emergencies come out. And even though she's been holding her form phenomenally well, she's been up for a very, very long time. And to my eye, there might just be a couple of mares in this race that might have slightly fresher legs. I'm also not entirely convinced 1,400 metres is her best trip. I know she ran so well when runner up in the Stradbroke. That was her first go at the distance, so you can't entirely knock her. But just trying to work out this race, where I've got her mapped and so on, I think she might be vulnerable. I think the value runners here, my best will be, say, Magique. I thought the performance when winning the Dane Ripper up on speed last start was very, very strong, showed good acceleration at the end of the race to put the race to bed. And from a good draw, James McDonald should have her bang on speed again. And I think she's going to be the one they need to run down at the top of the straight. So I'm happy to be with, say, Magique, $6.50 as my best in the race. My value bet is Coco Jambu, who the importer mare that we saw win first up very impressively. And I was quite keen on her last time out. She didn't win, but I thought she ran really well. She worked home quite strongly. And probably the best piece of work from her was that sort of last 100 metres of the race. I think she's drawn well and around that $15 each way mark. As a value bet in the race, I think she's a really enticing prospect. So for mine in the final Group 1, the Tatts Tiara, Say Magique, my best. My value, Coco Jambu. But for those of you who like Bella Nipotina, she's going to give you a great side.
Yeah, she's going to be my on-top selection going into it, and it's probably just more out of stubbornness. She hasn't done anything for me with what I love about her to jump off, but I do hear your remarks. The draw, it was the first thing I saw. The question marks I've got is the draw, the jockey change, because Craig Williams gets on with her and knows her so well. I think that's probably the most pivotal bit. And then as well, I agree with you that although she saw out the 1,400, I think that's just her tenacity and her toughness. I think 13 is her limit and probably still better at 1,200. So there are a few little negatives there as well, but I mean, the positives, we saw her win the Doom in 10,000 3 starts ago. I went back and had a look. In her last 13 starts, she's won or she's been beaten by less than 2.3 lengths. And that includes 8 Group 1s, a Group 2 and 2 Group 3s. So it's not like she's had any easy races in there. So we've talked about her consistency. She's just so strong. And we saw last time 7 kilos less than Steffi Magnetica, 7 kilos more. And was still able to race so well. So I'll put her on top, but I do have a few concerns at the end of the prep as well that you mentioned. I thought the value bet could be Vienna Princess. I didn't even read out the prices there. I've seen 30s and 40s already for this horse. And I know that I was probably late to the party, but you were big on the Zoo Gotcha form, and it obviously surrounds that. Second up record reads really well. 5 starts, 2 wins in a second. Gets barrier 1, which I think is another obviously bonus there. And then the good track was suit as well, getting off some of those soft surfaces that horse has faced at Randwick in previous preparations. The form is definitely on a good track. So Vienna Princess, I thought, could run a cheeky little race from that inside draw as well. What about around the ground, Shane? Is anything catching your eye there?
Yeah, Adam, I'm going to look for two more runners, and both at sort of each way prices at this stage. Eagle Farm Race 7, which is the Tattersalls Mile. I think New Mandate, Chris Waller and James McDonald looks very hard to beat. That's number 2, New Mandate, Race 7. Recent form has been very good. Like we saw him in the Wayne Wilson last time out. And there was a lot to like about that performance. He got into a little bit of interference coming to the home turn, and he worked home quite nicely. He's got good second up form, and I think he's going to improve. So we're around that sort of $9 to $10 mark. New Mandate, I think, represents a great deal of value at Eagle Farm, race 7, number 2. And also at Caulfield on Saturday, going to the final event on the card, which is over the extended 1,400 metres. I think the Trent Bussett and Natalie Young train, He's Our Bonneval, is going really well. Didn't have a great deal of luck last time out at Flemington over 1,400 metres when basically was slow out. Went back up to the inside, didn't have clearest of passages, but I like the way that he really hit the line. Drawn out, I think actually will improve his prospects here. And I think, again, at around that sort of $7.50, maybe $8 mark, if we're lucky, He's Our Bonneval's a good each way chance in the final event at Caulfield. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to head west. The race books aren't even out yet, so I don't have any prices at the moment. But Special Sort returned the other day and was a really good run and was nominated for about 5 races this weekend, but they have found one. So race 7, number 2, Special Sort. They put the Apprentice on in the West Speed final, chased the money there. It's already won 4 from 7. I think it'll be pretty hard to beat. And then I'll go to Sunday as well, because Bunbury, they've got the Southwest Cup there, and race 7, again, with number 6, Be Optimistic. Third up, we talked about the run last time when it went to Morphettville first up. It came back and ran well at Belmont, and I think it'll be suited in the small field here. So race 7, number 2 on Saturday at Belmont, and race 7, number 6 at Bunbury on Sunday. Be Optimistic. Make sure you are gambling responsibly there. You can go to visitgamblingonline.org.au for any information there. Shane, it's been an absolute privilege again to do this with you, and big thank you to Palmerbet. Obviously, a big thank you to Matty, who's been with us through the entire time. I'm sure he'll be back in the spring as well. But really appreciate your thoughts. You saw the Queensland Carnival very well again, as you did last year.
Oh, mate, we found a couple of winners. Great tipping by you all the way through, and love working with you and Matty. A lot of fun, and looking forward to the spring ahead.
Been another episode of Bolting In. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again in the spring.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.